Seth Ryan here, the famous Seth.
That's his
Right
name.
now, he's a movie star. FYI, if you haven't seen his video, check my Facebook page out and see his commercial. How did that happen?
I got a buddy that manages all the marketing for KJ's. Porter Pro Media, and so he just hit me up and asked if I wanted to be in the video for the week.
It was perfect.
It's like, heck yeah, let's do it.
It was perfect.
So cool.
It's fantastic. All right, so Seth is the head ISA for the Anderson Group, who are lead generation machines. So Seth is going to talk to us about lead generation and building your business through lead generation, and he's ready to rock and roll.
Ready to do it.
Ready to do it. You're good. So now, Seth, just so you know, this is how they hear you.
That's the microphone.
That's the microphone. So if you get too far away, like if you decide to wander over there or wander over there,
make sure
get within this
talking
zone.
to the blue.
And Pocatello, we can hear everything going on down there. So if someone gets too crazy, just so you know, we're hearing you up here. Ask lots of questions, Bill.
Hey, we're gonna try to keep,
scared me.
I know, we'll keep the record down.
That way, if you need anything, just go just so you know.
Absolutely. Okay. Bill, you there, sir?
I am, oh, sir. Now I feel.
Don't feel old. Feel respected.
I feel old. Respected, not old. Appreciate it. So, Bill, tell me about where you're at, what you're doing. You just on your own? You with the team? Tell me about yourself.
I got licensed just last week.
Okay.
And starting out brand new.
Awesome. So, were you able to attend the last Ignite session?
I was here, a couple of days ago for that session.
Okay. Perfect. So yeah, pretty much we're just going to get after it today with lead generation, which is going to be the most important aspect of your business anyway. And so you came to the right one. Really one of the better aspects of the job to get your business rolling. I'm glad to have a new agent here. Ask lots of questions. Let me know if you need me to go over some stuff or if you have any specific questions, feel free to ask those. So what we're going to start with right now, and you can see the slides down there, right? You've got all access to those and everything.
I guess I do.
Can you see the slide that says get your head in the game? Gosh dang it.
No.
Okay, well, let me share my screen then, and we will get this rolling. And I bet I even remember how to do this. Okay, what about now?
Get your head in the game. Yes.
Awesome. Okay, well, do it. That's it. PowerPoint's over. We're heading home. No, just kidding. So lead generation, like I said, job number one, and just like, this little quote right here, success leaves clues. Agents who take Ignite, like yourself, achieve 71% more contacts, 65% more calls, and 88% more previews. They grow their market share and create opportunities. That's from John Davis. So lead generation is not only important to maintain a level of business, but to get started. I mean, brand new agent like yourself, I'm sure you've got some connections. You seem like a personable guy. But even if you don't have all those personal connections, you got to build them somewhere. You got to start somewhere, get it on the ground level. So first, like the slide says, get your head in the game with lead generation. Make sure that you're making it an active part of your processes, of your systems, of your daily activities, of your routines, or you're just going to fall flat and not go anywhere. I'd say the biggest enemy of a real estate career is going to be the ups and the downs that we experience with the market shifts and the market changes. And we'll be referring to Gary Keller's book, Shift, a few times. Yeah, go ahead.
Did you get my last name?
I didn't.
Downs.
So
we only have ups in this business here.
Perfect. Because you take care of the downs yourself, and then only ups from here, right?
There you go.
Hey, perfect. So let's get on rolling here. So it's a little tough since we're just remote. We'll be doing some activities, mostly just a discussion. Good morning. And just let me know if you have any questions, and we're just going to get it started here. So as far as prospecting is concerned, make it happen. So this is just pretty much a pipeline of leads and how things flow through your system. You've got to get leads in the first place. You've got to turn those leads into appointments, then agreements, then contracts, and then you got to close, get your paycheck. So that's the basic funnel, the basic sales funnel or the pipeline for lead generation and kind of making a real estate transaction happen. No questions about this probably?
No.
Okay, and anybody else join you down there, Bill?
Not yet.
Okay, that's all right. You just let me know when we've got some friends, so I don't have to pick on you the whole time. So on page 16, and you've got a book, is that right? Is that how this works?
I do not have a book.
Gosh, dang it.
What's this?
Yeah, what is with this?
Lead generation.
You are the sole source of my information here.
Well, okay. You know, that's completely fine with me. So first off, Bill, what do you think are the most, the biggest benefits to lead generating?
Biggest benefits? Okay, the way I look at it, and this is just my personality, the more people I know, the more friends I have. The more friends I have, the better life is. Okay? So, okay, now I am coming from an Amway way of looking things, and what I would like to avoid is there came a point when the Amway guy was walking down the street, and so people would avoid me. So I do not want that.
Gotcha. And that's a fair thing to want. We definitely don't want people avoiding us. That gives us the opposite effect of growing our net, growing our sphere of influence. So, and one of the best ways, and since we're just kind of having a one-on-one discussion at this point, one of the best ways to do that is to maintain presence over all fields, which we'll kind of discuss a few of those today, and making sure that you're not being that pushy, overzealous kind of self-promoter that ends up turning business away. Now, there are a couple different schools of thought here. You can kind of take it like the just kind of go by your gut. You kind of get a sense when you're upsetting people, kind of see when you're turning people away, and then you kind of shy away from prospecting in general, and then you're up, and then you got right back into the ups and downs. There is the what's his name? Grant Cardone approach, where you just mass market the heck out of everything, 50 Facebook posts a day, Twitter, everything in the world, and grow your sphere that way. There's a few different ways to handle it, but really just take it at your own personal approach and kind of see what works best for you. But one thing's for sure, you don't want to maintain that presence. So
I will say this, going off the Grant Cardone approach, you're going to have haters no matter what. Mm-hmm. If you're actively out in the market and you're being successful at what you're doing, there are people that aren't going to like you. That's just the way it is. There's not one successful business in the entire world where everybody is like, I just worship them. Even Apple has its haters. Mm-hmm. Samsung has its haters. Amazon has haters. Everybody has haters out there, and that's just the way it is. You have to recognize that, and you have to keep being productive and push forward. And you have to keep a presence. If you don't have a presence, then that means you don't have haters. And if you don't have haters, you're probably not being successful.
Definitely. Thanks for sharing. So some other benefits as a new agent of prospecting that still apply to tenured agents as well is you keep a pulse on the market itself. If you're not lead generating, if you take a few months of really good sales and you're not really focused on building your pipeline, the second you get back in and try to make some calls, you're not going to know what's going on. You're not going to know any current objections. You're not going to know, where people are at in the market, how they're pricing homes, what their fears, what their expectations are. And so it's really important not only to lead generate, but to do it consistently, because you've got to keep that active pulse on the market so you always know what people are thinking, what objections are coming up, and you know how to handle those. And if you're not keeping a pulse and doing this consistently, you're going to have shortfalls, you're going to have more objections to overcome, you're not going to have as much success. And so one of the myths surrounding lead generation is that you're going to call as many people as you can, you're going to annoy the heck out of them, and nobody's going to want to do business with you. It's in fact quite the opposite. If you're calling the right people at the right times and in the right frequency, not only are you going to stay top of mind for those people, even if they have no real estate plans, but you're going to be the first one they go to when they're considering purchasing or selling a home. Okay, so the 4 C's of prospecting. And can you, let me just get this back with you here because I think I stopped sharing. So 4 C's of prospecting. We're going to dive a little bit into all of these. Can you see my screen down there, Bill?
Yep.
Perfect. So the 4 C's of prospecting. Oh, go ahead. What was that, Jess?
I just said I can see it too. Perfect.
So, Bill, the 4 C's of prospecting: capture, connect, close, cultivate. All very important. One thing but before we really get kind of dive in here, one thing I've always thought is it's only appropriate to not lead generate if you're not, if all you're doing is lead generating and you're not going on the appointments you've generated, then that's when it's okay to slow down on the lead generation. But if you're not ignoring appointments to make calls, then you got to be doing it, which should be 100% of your time. So the first C in this is capture. If you're out walking down the street and you've probably got some experience with this in Amway, or if you're into self-marketing or self-promotion at all, the first thing you've got to do is capture a lead, or you don't have anybody to call. When you grow a team or you grow your business to the point where you can pay for a CRM and web-generated leads, then some of that's done for you. But the first most important talent to have is to capture that contact information. Somebody calls one of your signs, has questions about that home, make sure you're keeping their phone number somewhere where you can access it. Get their name, get their email. When you take a listing, get friends and family members that are also interested in potentially selling a home. The first thing you've got to do is capture that contact info. Any objections you're finding with that, or any concerns or questions about actually getting information?
Well, I haven't really started.
For sure.
One thing that I learned about business cards, when I'm asking somebody for their information, if I hand them a business card, they feel better about it because I've given them my heart and soul.
For sure.
So then they're more comfortable with, okay, yeah, I can give you my phone number.
Mm-hmm. So, Bill, a common practice that I like to follow, it's always nice to have business cards, establish that connection, give yourself some legitimacy. But say you weren't going to carry around business cards and use that as your tool to get information and not just give somebody, what do they call them? Pretty much just throw them away.
How many business cards do you have in your pocket?
Exactly. I've got no business cards on me because I don't want to give them to people. And this is a different school of thought, but very popular among top teams and real estate agents. Gary Keller himself will never have a business card on him because it's easy to think that that's the value proposition is your information, but there's no next action. So Bill and anybody else that's involved, what kind of information do you think you can give to somebody to make giving you their contact info feel a little better? And what kind of value can you provide to get that information?
One thing I like to do when I'm meeting people is mostly focus on them. Just build them up, whatever way. How nice they look, whatever. You're a lot of fun to talk to, and make them valuable.
Definitely important. Yeah, focus on their needs, their wants, focus on them. They can figure out the information about you later. Yeah.
I always think the KW app, the app you can share with them, that they can look at houses, homes, and when you give that to them, you need to get their email or their phone number to be able to give them.
Definitely. Yes, you can start building that database. Another thing to do is provide some information about real estate. If you've had a great conversation with this person, what they're planning to do and when they're planning on doing it, and you've built that rapport, the next action is only to get their contact information so you can get them a free market analysis, so you can send them a free list of homes, so you can get them some free market data for their neighborhood.
Steph?
Those things. Yeah, Jess.
So I might mention on that, I know that Bill mentioned not wanting to be that Amway guy. I found that if people think that they've always got to have a full conversation with you if they see you, because that's the only, if we approach them and they're like, oh, how are you? And people like me, I don't like to stand and have conversations. But if I have a tip or a stat, something quick and exciting and kind of interesting, like, hey, did you know that that we only have 15 homes on the market between $200,000 and $250,000 right now? It's the best time to sell houses. Do you know anybody in that market is looking for that? If it's quick and easy, they're more likely to be interested in the information you have instead of avoiding you, knowing it's just going to be a long conversation and without any purpose.
Yeah. If they're walking up to somebody that's just going to vomit a bunch of information on them and try to give up that next action, it's obviously going to be a little intimidating, a little frustrating. A great example I had, my neighbor and I were chatting outside, and he just kind of mentioned he's got a lot of equity in his house. He's considering a refinance because they love their home. They want to be in it for a while. That was a lengthy conversation. The next time I saw him, I didn't want to have a lengthy conversation. I just said, hey, Joe, Here's what's up with interest rates. In case you're really interested in actually refinancing your home, I've got some contact information for you. Let me know if you need anything. As a quick follow-up on the conversation, a couple days later, I didn't throw up a bunch of information on him, and I know for a fact he'll hit me up instead of the 2 other agents on our street when he's got something that he needs to do. So definitely important to not only capture information, but give them something valuable so that they don't avoid you in the future. Now the connect and cultivate portion. When you're starting to connect with this person, you're having a conversation about real estate or their plans or them or whatever. You've got to make sure you're building that connection. And you definitely don't do that by spewing out stats, kind of like what I'm doing right now where I'm just rambling. So make sure that when you're connecting with somebody, you're building that genuine connection. And this is all just basic stuff, but makes it really important for the cultivate process. So Bill, tell me what you think the cultivate process looks like.
Well, kind of like what I already was talking about, making them feel like I am interested in them, for them, just them, not as a person, as a individual.
Mm-hmm. Great. So Bill, tell me, have you ever had this conversation with somebody? They give you a call. They say, "Hey, Bill, it's your old high school buddy, Seth. How are you, man?"
Yeah.
"Hey, how's your family? What are you doing these days?" And then right before you get off the phone, they say, "Hey, Bill, I've got a proposition for you. I want to see who you know that's interested in buying or selling real estate." How do you feel about that conversation when they bring that up at the end?
At the end, it's kind of like everything you've done is just so you could bring up that thing at the end.
Absolutely. Now, I'd refer you to a book, but I can't remember the title. But a great tip is just business up front, bottom line up front. So if you call somebody and you're making that cultivating touch, you may be calling them for some personal conversation. But if you've got some business to do, say, "Hey, Bill, this is Seth. It's about business. You got a couple minutes." Do a good introduction. Make sure they know up front what you're trying to do, so that you can make it not fake or anything, kind of like that, like that previous conversation. One other thing on cultivate. You're going to make connections. You're going to close deals. Bill, you ever bought a car, ATV, boat, a toy, or anything like that? And you ever had your salesperson give you a call back a couple months later to see how you're enjoying your purchase?
Yep.
How's that make you feel?
Feels like, it's a relationship. He actually is caring about me.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Did you ever give him, a bunch of things to do on that call, and he followed up? Did you say, "Oh yeah, I need you to do this, and this," or what was the conversation like?
There have been a couple of times when, once he's called, it's kind of like, "Oh, what do I do about this?"
Mm-hmm.
Kind of thing. So, and I felt comfortable doing that.
So are you going to refer business to this gentleman?
Oh yes, I do.
Good. And that's one of the more important things that we need to be doing. I notice in my conversations, and I have plenty of them every day, I talk with past clients of other real estate agents. I talk with past clients of ours. And one thing I always hear is, "Never got back to me. I feel like my real estate agent sold me a house, and then I never heard from him again." And that's definitely, people focus on that. They may not appreciate it as much when you're following up, but they definitely notice when you don't.
I think the stat is 80% of the people would use their agent again, but only 12% do.
Yeah.
And the reason is a follow-up. It just doesn't exist.
Yeah, right after they close, they're probably like, "Hey, this went great. Yeah, sure. I'd gladly use this guy again." But then they never hear from him. It's 5 to 7 years later. They've completely forgotten his name, but may have a business card shoved away in a desk somewhere. And so they just they call the sign and meet with the first agent they talk with. So definitely important to cultivate that. Cultivate business that hasn't worked with you, and cultivate your current sphere of influence and your current clients that you've already closed with. So that's about all I got for the 4 C's. Any other kind of questions on those, Bill?
Nope.
Okay. Perfect. So you've got a full page on each of these with the contact, capture, connect, close, and cultivate. You've got a whole page on those in your book that hopefully you'll be getting sometime soon. But for anybody that's kind of joined us, you can kind of dive in depth to there. What I really wanted to open this up to was, kind of discussion and questions and stuff. But before we do that, we're going to pull up a video that is real play call for seller listings. So, Bill, have you made any lead generation calls yet while they pull this up?
No, I haven't.
Okay, perfect. So this should be pretty good then.
I have a question. What's the name of this book that you keep?
I think it's just the Ignite handbook. How can he get one of those?
It's the manual. He can download those. I'll have Paulo go in and show him if he's got his computer. It's the free download of the manual.
Okay, perfect. So what I'll do is pull this up here. I don't know if this is it. So, Jess, this call for seller listings video isn't on this little page right here. You think this one would be okay to start with then?
I think there's one in there that is a call.
The first one I've got is finding more leads.
It probably is. Yeah, they probably just renamed it, and I need to reprint the slides.
Okay, we'll just do that one then. So I'm going to share my screen so you can check this video out. Let me know if you can hear it. Hopefully you should be able to.
Lead generation is your number
Great.
one job. You have started by calling your Mets, your sphere of influence. You have even reached out via social media. But what do you do when you run out of contacts? Where can you find more leads? There are many places you can find additional prospecting opportunities. Think about your children's sporting events or activities. And don't forget about your own organizations and clubs. Your children's school or PTA would be an excellent source for contacts, as well as your place of worship. Even your mechanic. They rely on referrals for their business just like you do. Using these and other sources for prospecting opportunities will lead to more contacts and referrals that will grow your business. More contacts and referrals will lead to more appointments, listings, and closings. This will help you meet and exceed your goals.
There you go.
So I don't just have to call people.
No, you don't just have to call people. You got to shake hands. You've got to be networking everywhere you go. You got to be making and building those connections all the time, everywhere. I mean, he even says church. When I first started, I was like, oh, I don't know. But hey, anywhere you're with people, get them to remember you, your name, what you do. And make sure you're capturing all those leads. If you exchange contact info, make sure you're connecting with all those people all the time. So that gives you some ideas on where to branch out to if you're not already.
You mentioned church. Think about it. If I'm looking for somebody, mechanic, lawyer, whatever, I go to somebody in the church and ask them, do you know? Because generally speaking, that's almost like a family there. You trust.
Definitely. Now, one thing about your sphere that a lot of people take for granted, just because you know somebody, they know your name, they know what you do, they know where you're at, they could be a longtime friend or a family member even, does not mean that they will 100% use you for their real estate needs. And so definitely don't take advantage of those relationships. And this is why cultivation is so important. Media presence is so important. Everybody that's got a few transactions under their belt has that gut-wrenching story of calling up a buddy or figuring out a friend or an uncle or an aunt, even a daughter or a brother or sister. Use somebody else in their area to conduct a real estate transaction.
Jessica's brother that lives in Rigby, Jess, used an ERA agent. What
the heck, Jess? Where you at? Oh, I think she might not be with us, but that's a perfect example. Somebody is as bright and bubbly as Jess that gets herself out there and puts herself out there. Even can have somebody as close as her brother using a different agency to buy or sell a house, and it's nobody's fault but the agents. You've got to maintain those relationships. You've got to contact your sphere of influence, even if it's a friend or a family member. Don't just assume that because there's that connection that they're going to use you. So make sure you're cultivating that business for yourself. And I like how this slide actually says, all the people who know you, trust you, and may do business with you, because it just drives that point home. Nobody's going to use you just because they know you. You've got to make sure you're providing some sort of value. So as far as your sphere of influence is concerned, how many people do you think you know right now, Bill, or anybody involved, that plan on making a move, buying or selling a home this year?
That I know of right now?
Yeah.
Not a whole lot.
Not a whole lot. So how are you going to build that sphere?
Well, just walk around and talk.
Okay, perfect. Well, we're going to do a little practice exercise right now. You joining us from Morgan's team? That's awesome. So just the two of you are involved, I guess. We'll do a little one-on-one, head-to-head competition. If you got a piece of paper or a Word document or something like that on your laptop, what we're going to do is you're going to take, I don't know, I'm going to time you for like 2 minutes. And you're just going to take that time to write down your sphere of influence. List as many names as you can. They don't have to have plans to move, but just start writing out your sphere. Friends, family members, mechanics, etc. So you ready for that over there, Bill?
You just want names, huh?
Just give me some names. Well, you're not giving them to me. You're just writing them down for yourself. You got a little document open ready for that?
Yep.
Cool. So let me get my timer out. We'll go 2 minutes. Don't want to take too much time here. Just write down all the names you can think of people that you know. Ready? Go. Just to get your brains moving, immediate family, friends, neighbors, professional services, bankers, past coworkers. Yeah, there's a minute, 1 minute left. "30 seconds, wrap up some randoms there. "10, 5, and wrap it up. Bill, how many names you got?
I only got 8.
8. Okay, that's a good start. How about you?
21.
21. All right, you got to learn how to write a little faster there, Bill. Just kidding.
Well,
So, hey, so you've got these lists. You've got these lists of people. Now, I encourage you to take these home tonight and obviously expand upon these and start kind of building your database on paper. But this is a great start. You've got 8 people or 20 people. We'll just call it 10 to 20 names of people that you know that may or may not have plans to buy a house, but that start your sphere of influence. Now, these are people who may know you, they may trust you, they may do business with you, but you've got to start somewhere and start keeping in touch with these people. And so what we're going to do right now, and this may not apply 100%, is we're going to watch a video on cold calling, and then we'll kind of start digging into time blocking and the actual how behind lead generation. So give me 1 minute to get this pulled up.
While he's pulling that up, I think from your sphere of influence, if you have 250 contacts in that sphere, you should be able to get 25 transactions a year from those people in that sphere. Not necessarily they're having the transaction, but maybe their mom needs to sell a house, or their cousin, or they know their neighbor. But that sphere, if you work it properly, you should be able to generate 25 transactions from it.
So, Bill, I don't know what your goals are, but how many homes you want to close the rest of this year or in 2019?
I haven't the slightest idea at this moment.
Okay, that's fine. How does 20 or 25, just from your sphere of influence, sound?
Homes?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds great, right?
Yep.
Perfect. So I think it's a great place to start, and that's not a sphere of 8 or 9 people versus a sphere of 50 people. Everybody knows enough people to make that 25 transaction, those 25 transactions happen. So I challenge you to think and keep those people in mind in your sphere when we kind of watch this video and get things moving here. So let's play this.
Cool. So I'll say where we're from, and then you give production levels. Is that all right? Hi, my name is Dylan Provencher.
I'm Sean Provencher.
We're from Toronto, Ontario, Canada. We're the Real Estate Brothers.
2014, we wrote 72 transactions for $47 million.
Sean and I are very lucky because we're actually fairly entrepreneurial in sales. So we were able to just sort of survive by luck and by just sort of being likable and nice.
We had a decent business that wasn't growing.
We did a lot of door knocking originally, but what we found was with bad weather, plus you have to drive to door knock, it was just too much of a wild card.
If we were to grow the business, we needed to add people to our database, and if we were going to do that, we needed a systematic way that we knew we could achieve results that were predictable. So we just kind of started cold calling.
About 3 hours a day, and we found that the results were phenomenal.
Come take a look where we've been this whole time.
You can literally do it from your kitchen.
It's just more time effective.
Yeah.
If you're cheap like we are, you don't want to spend a ton of money on the web or in print. Telephone lines, you pay a monthly bill and you can call all you want. Why don't you come in here, I'll show you the cold calling room. We've got a map where we've broken the entire city into zones. We like to target areas where we have buyers.
It's been scrubbed to the do not call list, and it still represents over 250,000 phone numbers. All of our desks have 3 monitors. We have Mojo in the middle, we have our scripts on the right, and then on the left,
Do some research on the house they're calling for, stuff like that. Cold calling is like adding jet fuel to your car or something. Like it pumps your business up.
we went from making
What was our first year? Like 70K. And then this year together we did $1.1 million. So this is Sean calling from the Real Estate Brothers. You know what, I'm so sorry to bug you today, but I just noticed that you live. You have to treat cold calling as though it's an appointment. If you don't prioritize it, things will always find their way in and block you from being able to do it. It's the most important thing you can do for your business.
absolutely most important, and you have to quantify it as well. The bold 100 contacts a week.
So just to add on to that, he says treat lead generation like an appointment. If you had an 11 a.m. on your calendar to meet with a seller at their house, ready to go, ready to sign paperwork and get their house listed, you wouldn't move that appointment for anything. You know, that's a house, that's a seller, it's ready to go. Treat your lead generation each morning, however you time block it out. Obviously, I'd recommend 8 hours a day because that's what I do. But just start at an hour a day, 2 hours a day, 3 hours every morning. Treat that like an appointment. Nothing interferes with that listing appointment you've got scheduled. Nothing interferes with your lead generation. Gary Keller says in his book, The Shift, which I highly recommend everybody pick up, you treat it like it's your second business or it's your first business. Conducting real estate transactions is your second business. So yeah, treat your business hours as protected, unpenetrable time to make those calls, because then you'll experience those ups and downs in real estate that everybody does, because you're not keeping that pipeline fully stocked, with fresh leads to keep in contact with. So that's what he means by treat it like an appointment. Nothing gets in the way.
Real quick,
Yeah.
it's on the board behind you actually, the pyramid from Gary Keller. And leads are base of the pyramid.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not doing lead gen, then listings and nothing else doesn't follow.
Yeah, you'll run out.
Yep.
You know, every pipeline runs dry if it's not being fed. So we'll just wrap this video up and kind of get into some more stuff.
Is a really, really cool way
To set a bar.
To set a bar and get started and stick to it, whatever your decision is.
I was just wondering, has anything changed in your plans? Are you still thinking this great to get it on the market?
You can't think today was a bad cold calling day, because today doesn't matter. What matters is what you accomplish in a year. And if you just keep adding people to your database and systematically follow up with them and take care of the people who you work for, you'll do great.
You're not always going to have great success every day, but it's by doing it every day that you have great success.
We're going to be in the neighborhood for the next 2 weeks giving free evaluations. You know what I'd love to do?
I'll say too that one thing that we were afraid of, and I think everyone is just the rejection side of things. People being mean to you on the phone and rude. We have this saying with our team that you're either part of our future or part of our past, and either way it's fine. The people who are rude to us are obviously not going to be part of our future.
Have a chuckle about it. Like, honestly, when someone cusses at me or something, I just laugh because it's funny.
Hey, do you think that it might make sense for us to book something tentatively for the weekend?
The more time you spend not on the phone, you're losing money because that 3 hours of my day is my 20% where I make my money.
Don't get ready to start thinking about how you're going to eventually do something. Just do it. Like, just
do
get
it.
Done.
Stop watching this video, get off your butt and go start dialing numbers and talking to people.
Okay, we'll just take his advice and end it right there. So, yeah, I got a couple points that I want to extend to everybody listening. So, first off, on afraid of rejection, I think I'm qualified to say, don't worry about rejection. I'm talking. I'm on the phone for 5.5 to 6 hours a day making these calls, and even I don't get that many rejections. I'll get yelled at maybe once a month. I'll get cussed at maybe once in my career. People just aren't that mean. You'll get people hanging up on you, but don't let that fear of rejection keep you from making those calls, because as he said, every minute in your lead gen session, you're not making a call, you're wasting your time. The point is to get an appointment. You're only going to get appointments by making those contacts, by dialing those numbers. So don't let that fear of rejection stop you from picking up the phone, dialing the 10 numbers, and making that call.
I had somebody that I called 3 months ago that hung up on me while I was in the middle of talking to them. And their name came up on my list to call again yesterday. I was like, oh, why am I doing this? You know? But I dialed the number anyways. And this time, super friendly. Talking to him, and he says, I'm not ready right now, but give me a call back in 6 months to see where I'm at.
Perfect.
Okay, 6 months from now, let's have another conversation. I was like, this is a total turnaround from
there you go.
Our previous conversation, and this dude just hung up on me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and to build on that persistence as well. You see that name pop up that you're reluctant to call, or you see somebody you've dialed 12, 15, 20 times that hasn't answered. Hey man, it's 20 seconds out of your day to give them one more shot. And so keep cranking those phone calls out, keep on making it happen. You'll get those conversations. So, and you're just going to build your sphere of influence. And we can kind of get into the whys on how to expand that sphere as you're making these calls. But first we want to make sure that the time itself is protected. So I'm going to get you back on this PowerPoint here. And we are going to talk about, if I can pull it up, time blocking. So in this, if you get a manual or if you have an Ignite manual, there's this thing called the 3-3. It's the 3 processes in your 3 hours of daily lead generation. And those include the prepare, take action, and maintain steps. So you can read through these, but in general, it's just the actions you should be taking on your own once you're out of the class, making these calls. You block out your 3 hours or however long you want to do lead generation for every morning, and you should be doing these 3 things. Now, your first step is your prepare step, and this really shouldn't be that long. You should not be taking hardly any time on this at all. It's pulling up your list, figuring out who you're going to call, what the purpose of these calls are, and then you start dialing. It's easy to get sucked into this trap of lead generation starts at 8. Okay, now I'm going to spend the next 15 minutes thinking about who I'm going to call. I'm going to get my first number pulled up. I'm going to read through some notes. I'm going to do some thinking, do some market research beforehand. Shut up, man. Start dialing. That's the most important thing, is to start dialing. So
it's that first phone call for a lot of everyone. It's like the 100-pound phone. Mm-hmm. You look at it and you're like,
I can deadlift this right now.
As soon as you deadlift that phone, and you make that first phone call, all of a sudden something triggers in your brain that's like, oh, why was I even worried about this? Mm-hmm. Then you're just rolling through. But just pick that phone up and make that first call.
Yep, absolutely. So preparation. Obviously you should be preparing a list of numbers and calls to make. You should be going through some affirmations if you've got them and focusing on your big why. You want to dial in the session, to its purpose. And you want to make sure you're practicing scripts, but make this a very minimal part of your morning so that you can get on the phones and start experiencing these objections, experiencing these contacts, and making making meaningful connections with people. Next is you take action. You prospect. You update your database. And then you maintain. You track your results. You log these appointments in whatever systems you've got to make sure you actually show up to these homes or or stay at your office long enough to have this appointment. So make sure you're scheduling these commitments. And those are the 3 most important aspects of a lead generation period. So any questions on those, anybody? Perfect. So we'll dive a little bit in. There's a little bit more preparation you can do depending on what types of lists you're calling. So in your experiences, the couple people that are here with us, what kind of a list of names can you prepare? Who are you calling?
Circle of influence.
Okay, your circle of influence.
There's the Mets. There's the habit Mets.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, people that you've contacted but not met with, people you've met with to follow up. What other kind of lists could you come up with, Bill?
Well, now you're picking on me.
Yep, definitely.
I knew it'd come around to it. Anybody I bump into, one way or another, I'm going to make him my friend. So what the heck?
Yeah, definitely. So some other lists you can pull up. You probably got MLS access now.
You got what?
Do you have MLS access for our area yet?
Just kidding.
What was that?
Just kidding.
Oh, just getting it. Okay, perfect. So what you can do with the MLS is you can pull up a list of just listeds. You can pull up a list of just solds. Pretty much every activity that a house goes through, every pipeline, every definition they can hit in the listing service is an opportunity to call, whether it's expired, just listed, just sold, price drops, for sale by owners, expired listings, everything like that is another opportunity for a new list. And so make sure you're kind of keeping that list of lists in your mind so that you've got no excuse to just kind of pull something up and start going.
One thing I like to do with calling a list, I like to stick to the same list throughout the day because you usually get the same objections, the same question, the same thing. But if I'm jumping from list to list, person to person, then it starts to get all over the place.
Great point. Yeah, you can make a couple calls with your sphere, and these are buddy calls. You're just kind of checking in. How's the family? Happy birthday, whatever. And then you got to switch and shift gears to an expired listing where there's going to be more objection handling. There's more actionable things to talk about. And so that, good advice, especially when you're starting out, to kind of keep it consistent for that lead gen period, or at least do it in blocks if you're going to mix things up. Great advice. Thank you. Let's dive into a few more sources here. So we've kind of talked about prospecting opportunities. We watched the Finding More Leads video earlier. What are some other ideas people have on opportunities to prospect? Any more we haven't flushed out yet?
Yeah. So if you're on a team, calling previous clients.
Past clients, very important calls. We were talking earlier about how most agents don't call their past clients and keep in touch, and it should be that should be 50 to 75% of your business, as you're growing. So anything else we haven't fleshed out yet?
I know people that go to garage sales.
Garage sales, great. Yeah, tons of people at garage sales, especially this time of year.
They ask, "Are you selling your house? Is that, why are you having a garage sale?" Yeah,
what's up with the garage sale? Yeah, great idea. Yeah, great idea.
Pretty smart, actually.
Yeah, we're both going to be at the next garage sale now. So
probably see you there.
Perfect. Great. Open houses, Bill. That's something that all new agents I think should hop on. There's tons of agents that have too much going on to hold their own open houses. So give people a call. Say, hey, I noticed your listing's been on for a week. How's the activity? Can I hold an open house for you this weekend? That's an idea. Get some buyer leads off of somebody else's listing. Get some leverage going there. But that's probably one of the more important things about prospecting is seeing what you can leverage and what you're not currently leveraging.
So I'm going to say this about lead generation and prospecting. It doesn't have to be phone calls, but you have to be doing something. You can't say, well, I'm not doing phone calls. That's fine. If you're not doing phone calls, then guess what? You better be talking to every single person you come in contact with.
For sure.
That's in line at the grocery store. Every garage sale you drive by, you better be stopping at them. You have to be doing consistent prospecting every single day.
Well, yeah, if you're not generating a lead from the activity, and a lead is a name, a phone number, and some level of motivation. If you're not creating and generating leads from these activities, then you're not lead generating.
Yeah, even if you're talking to people in line at the grocery store, you're not getting phone numbers from them.
Exactly. Yeah, if you're a walking information booth, you're not lead generating. Yeah, that's it. That's it. So, what about for sale by owners? We can kind of dive a little bit out of the material right now. This market for sale by owners are super hot. They're going to sell. Everybody's selling by owner, especially under that kind of 250, 225 range. So how can we approach a for sale by owner and create a lead out of it?
How quickly do you need to move?
How quickly do you need to move? And you can either call them if their number's on Zillow or anything. You can knock on their dang door. If you're driving around and seeing it, that's probably one of the better ways, because getting that face-to-face is what's important. You can kind of count that like a mini appointment if you want to. So yeah, asking them what the motivation is to move. What else? What else can you do with for sale by owners?
How long? How many showings have you had and how long?
Ask about activity. Yeah, how long have you been on the market? What are you priced at? How many showings? Any offers? Stuff like that. Get them thinking about what's not happening.
You ask them, how many people have come look at your house? And they'll be like, oh, 10 people have come look at my house. How many of those people were not real estate agents?
For sure.
Oh, well, 0.
Yeah. Oh, and it's always fun to ask a for sale by owner what the interest level's like, because they're always going to say, oh, I've showed it 5 times this week and 4 people sounded really interested. Yeah. Nobody's going to give the for sale by owner honest feedback while they're walking through their home. So yeah, make sure you're always diving deeper. Oh, great. That's fantastic that you're getting some interest on your home. How many offers have you had? How many serious, legitimate offers have you had? Do they have a real estate agent representing them? Also, just to kind of get started is, if you're calling a for sale by owner, it's most likely a price conversation. You're going to discuss costs and how real estate agents are too expensive and how there's no value and how they're going to lose $15,000 if they list with an agent. If you have a simple, and we've talked about this a few times, if you have a simple compensation conversation, it's easy to negotiate in that percentage. Ask the for sale by owner if they're planning on paying a buyer's agent already. Ask about the exposure they're going to get if they don't plan on paying a buyer's agent. How do you plan on selling your house then, dude? Mr. and Mrs. Seller. And once you kind of overcome that objection, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, you're going to have to pay a 3% commission to a buyer's agent or they're not going to show your home. Once you get over that, then you've only got to negotiate that extra 3%. 1% to market your home, 1% to manage the transaction, 1% to manage the showings and all the paperwork and everything like that. It's a pretty easy sale. So make sure you're having those discussions with for sale by owners.
And the contract. We don't want any lawsuits going on here.
Exactly. Open houses, we talked a bit about that. Definitely a good spot to build database, because they'd be lying to you if they walked through an open house and said they didn't have any real estate plans. They do. They just don't trust you enough to talk about them yet. So make sure you're at least getting names and numbers. Maybe have a sign-in sheet at an open house and saying, hey, the sellers really asked that we get the information for everybody walking through their home, just to respect their privacy and their belongings. Get that contact info. Build your database that way. Agent referrals. Anybody in here plan on working with either buyers or sellers or in a certain specific area? Buyers. So are you new buyer's agent for Morgan? Okay, awesome. So working with buyers, Morgan's got the listings handled, so you wouldn't really have any in-town referrals to send out, but definitely build a network of people outside your service area and start sending some things. The cool thing, Bill, and I'm sure you know this, just being a licensed realtor in the United States give you access and permission and all the right in the world to ask for a referral on any buyer or seller you send to any other licensed realtor in the United States. And so it's really, really fun and easy to build a really big referral network in case you have some friends or family moving in or out from out of state. Social media is huge. I'm sure you guys already have, your respective Facebook pages. You can use Twitter, other social sites like LinkedIn, maybe some YouTube videos for open houses or home tour walkthroughs. So that's one way you can kind of advertise and kind of generate leads from attraction on those sites. We won't dig too much into that, though. What we will do, just because it's fun, is we'll write a little sample post, and also we're going to switch it around for you. Bill, you do whichever one of these you think you could benefit from more. We're going to write out a sample social media post for either a listing or a buyer that you're looking for homes for. So tackle one of those. I'll chill out and kind of get some notes going here. Take 3 to 5 minutes to write up a little sample post, either looking for a house for a buyer that you can send out to a bunch of agents, or advertise a listing that you just took. So go for that. Take 3 to 5 minutes. Get that written out right now. You guys need much more time? All good? Bill, how you doing over there?
Fantastic.
Okay, you need a few more minutes, or are we good to go?
We're good to go.
Okay, perfect. So yeah, we'll just start with you. Did you choose the buyer or the seller approach on this little social media post?
I'm looking for a seller.
Okay, perfect. Would you mind reading us your post?
I just said I'm looking for property, 3 to 4 bedroom, 5 acres for approximately $240,000.
Perfect. So you're trying to generate a listing or a lead for your buyer. Is that right?
Yes.
Perfect. Which approach did you take? Same thing?
Same.
Yeah. So would you mind reading yours?
Yeah. So friends and family, I need your help. I have a buyer looking for a house in the Rigby Ryrie area with 5-bed, 3-bath in the $250,000 to $300,000 range. Do you know someone selling their home or looking to sell their home that I could get in contact today to help? Please give me a call, and then I have my phone number with me.
Perfect.
I got one too.
Yeah.
This one's actually from Elias Strayhawk from
Oh,
the
cool.
208 group. He actually posted this one yesterday. Hey, one of our sellers just got an offer on their house and they are struggling to find something they like. If you live in the Blackfoot School District and have a single level home with at least 3 bedrooms, please write me. They want something in good condition between $129,000 and $159,000.
Awesome. So you're given a price range, some basic, just like a basic description of the home itself, location, beds, baths, everything like that. You don't want to get too specific, because if you give them all the information in the world, then you're just giving your your buyer out to the world. But you also want to be specific enough to actually generate interest. People receive that call too often. That's, hey, I've got a buyer in your area. Are you interested in selling your home? And there's a time and a place for that. but you'll have to be a little bit more detailed if you're actually looking for a home for a buyer. So we could wrap this up in the next 5 minutes if we stick with the actual program, but I wanted to open it up to you folks to chat about lead generation in general. What kind of questions do you have? What kind of objections are you hearing? What's getting in the way of doing lead generation every day? And just kind of give it to you guys so we can have a little discussion on what's happening, what's not happening, why, what's working. So go for it.
Well, so one thing for me to have successful lead generation, I have to literally bunker down.
Mm-hmm.
I have to make sure I have my water bottle full. I have to go to the bathroom beforehand. I have to have all my stuff right there. Otherwise, 20 minutes into it, I'm getting thirsty. I walk out, fill my water bottle up, go to the bathroom, and then it takes 45 minutes before I actually get back to doing lead gen.
Yeah, and then it's time to stop.
No, that's absolutely right. How it works. So I have to make sure, but I can't take too much time beforehand getting all that stuff organized. I just have to know I'm doing lead gen, water bottle, bathroom, scripts, go.
For sure. So how would you say you protect that time from your Gmail inbox or your texts coming in or your incoming calls? Any ideas how to manage and own your activities instead of being owned by what's coming in? Yeah.
So I put my scripts and my affirmations in front of my computer screen, so I can't see anything else on there. And then my screen down here just has my calendar on it. So if I want to schedule an appointment, then
that's all you need.
That's all I need. And then I also, on my other screen, I have like the local stats and what's going on. So that's it. So my Gmail and all that stuff, I exit out. I just want my really 3 tabs. My tab with the contact names, my list, and then my calendar, and then information about what's going on.
Great. And and you brought up a good point. And an objection I would put up is, what if you have to send them a confirmation email or anything like this? And a cool thing you can do that just kind of feeds into that protecting your time, make sure you give yourself that time to wrap up a lead gen session so that you're not constantly interrupting yourself with all of the things you've got to log to set the appointment, get showings scheduled and everything like that. Protect that hour, 2 hour, 3 hour long block and bunch these activities together so that you can make calls for 3 hours and then spend 20 minutes wrapping up, making sure everything's on your calendar, making sure you've got everything scheduled, make sure you've got your showings lined out so you can start getting those scheduled, log it in any kind of a database you may have, because you don't want those little interruptions, because getting a drink could turn into a half-hour distraction that totally lands your plane and throws your whole lead gen session out the window.
Or seeing your Gmail and responding to one email.
Exactly.
Whole back and forth conversation.
Yep. Or you'll get another one coming in that's a request about something that's completely not related to lead generation. The hardest thing, and I don't think anybody has a perfect answer, but the hardest thing to manage in lead gen is not letting current business interfere with the generation of new business. So one of the first things you guys will experience in getting these lead gen sessions going, say you're 2 weeks in, you've hit it every morning, you've been really successful. And then, 2 weeks in, you've got a really distressed seller giving you a call saying, hey, what's going on with my closing date? The buyers did this, the sellers are doing this, the other agent let me know this, or something happened on my new house that I just bought. Is knowing how to filter those out and get that stuff out of your way so you can focus on what's more important at the moment is really important, because you're going to get those interruptions. Something that feels more important is going to pop up, and it could throw your whole plan out the window. And so building that bunker, make sure you're protecting against everything.
Also, I think success also gets in the way, guys. Having success, appointment, getting appointment after appointment after appointment set up, and then you start getting closings and money's coming in, and then all of a sudden you stop doing the lead gen because that's the not fun.
Yeah.
Part. But then down the road, all of a sudden you don't have any more closings, no more appointments, and everything's just stopped. Why it stopped? Because when you're having so much success, you stopped doing the thing that gave you the success.
For sure. Yeah, it's easy to look at your calendar and say, hey, I just set an appointment in the first 10 minutes of my lead generation session. I've got 2 closings today. I've got an appointment scheduled for this afternoon. Man, I'm living large. And so the first thing you give up is that appointment that you may not feel is so solid, which is your lead gen. And so the next morning, you skip it. And then you're like, that was pretty nice. Skip it on Friday. You don't do it all next week. And then you've got a week without any closings. And you're starting to sweat some bullets because you don't have any closings the following week. You don't have any for quarter 4. Now you can't have Christmas, and the world explodes. Everything goes to heck. Yeah, your e-key gets canceled because you can't pay the dang $30 to get that renewed. So it really is important to protect this time block because it's just as important as an appointment. What other kind of questions or concerns are there? So you guys lead generating every day? And what's getting in the way?
Stupid things.
Stupid things. What kind of stupid things?
Just an example, we had to go do a well test.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why did you have to do that well test?
I didn't.
There you go.
But it's not that it's a bad thing, right?
Oh, like, for sure. And it never is.
For a few weeks. And if Morgan and I go out to do something, right, we're not talking about like how the football game was last night. We're generally talking about things that are relating to real estate to try to generate, like, I'm asking questions, you know what I mean? Like, what are we doing with this? And a lot of the stuff that I'm asking questions on is what I'm learning in class.
For sure.
Right? Like Jessica talked last class about building your database and then continually following up with your database.
Yeah.
Well, as you probably already know, this market's so insane, right? That there's so much stuff coming in that people are like, I don't have time to follow up with my database.
Yeah.
But you have to. If you don't follow up with your database, who knows if you sold, I was talking to him, I was like, how do you know if Susie and John bought a 2-bedroom, 1-bath house 2 years ago and they just had 2 kids and they're like, what the heck are we going to do? We don't have room for 2 kids in this house.
Exactly.
Right? Well, are they going to call you? Maybe. But if they don't, then you just lost out on a transaction that would have been just as easy because you already know them. You kind of know things about them that would help you sell them a new house and you can relate back to them.
For sure. So on that, on that point, say you've got an appointment and some crazy combination of events, this seller or this buyer calls you and says, hey, our appointment today at 3:00. I'm ready to meet with you. Everything's good. I've only got about a 65% chance of doing business. And they'll let you know that up front. With that information, would you still go on that appointment?
Yeah.
No question. No question. And so when you apply that same logic to making these calls every day, you're not going to win 100% of the time. You're going to call, Susie and Dale, a month after they actually bought a house with somebody else or 2 years too early. But you keep in touch with them, your success ratio is going to be there in some aspect, and it's just worth it to make these calls. And what Jessica was talking about last week is completely important. Build your database and keep in touch with them because you've got past clients that are going to do business or they're going to know somebody that wants to do business. So don't waste that by not following up with them.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Now, when doing lead gen, do you just do it for a set amount of hours, or do you go until you've made 10 contacts or 20 contacts, or you set so many appointments?
Great. Yeah, great question.
Stop if you've only made 1 contact, but it's been 3 hours and you're just done.
For sure. Now, I never like to set goals on the end result, because then you forego the activity that's going to get you those results. And so if I was new starting out, joining a team, trying to build this bunker of lead generation every morning, the first and foremost, I'd pick an amount of time you need to spend on this. Because it's really easy to talk yourself out if you set a few appointments and you get to end lead gen an hour and a half early today. It's that don't let success beget failure. Don't discount the activity, the initial activity, because of the results you're experiencing right now. Because it's the initial activity itself that's going to give you those results. So if you have a great day, that's awesome. Make it an even better one by adhering to your schedule and making sure your time block is immovable. That's what I would recommend. What other kind of questions do we have? We could probably we can probably wrap up honestly in about 10, 15 minutes. The material's been covered, but I want to make sure you guys don't have any questions about where to start, what to do, how to get started, everything like that. So how long have you been with Morgan's team?
3 weeks.
3 weeks? How you liking it so far? Good. So you've already doing a well test in 3 weeks. It means you got some offers put together, getting some business going.
So this was one of Morgan's clients, but
okay,
like a house he's selling. But yeah, I have a guy, my brother-in-law, that I'm looking for a house right now. We actually made an offer on a house, but we got outbid. You guys know how that's going right now.
Gosh dang it.
Yeah. So and then I have another brother-in-law that is finishing up his loans. I know what he qualifies for.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have a couple of friends that are in loan process right now. So, I mean, I feel like it's going pretty well for, I'm putting in effort, you know what I mean? Basically, I'm not going to lie to you and tell you that I'm making a bajillion phone calls. But I think something with phone calls is important. And I think if everybody thinks about this, they'd probably agree. If you're calling and you're having a successful day, it probably has something to do with how you came in during the day. Right?
No, for sure.
So if your wife just bought you a brand new Xbox yesterday and you played all night and you were like super happy, so you come to work with $1,000, right? Because you're just stoked. And your first phone call, you get a lead off of it, and they're like, "Yeah, come on over tomorrow. We'll see what we can do," right?
Yeah.
But you could hang up the phone and you could not call all day. But you're in a fantastic mood, which means your personality on the phone is going to be 100 times better. So why not keep going? Because you might get 30 appointments that day.
Absolutely. Yeah, take advantage of the ups and downs. One thing you can't control is your attitude tomorrow.
Right.
But you can't control what you're doing right now. And so yeah, that's a great point. I can't remember where I was going with that.
Do you recommend using a headset? Is there dialers?
Oh, great. Yeah. So to get started, use your cell phone and pull out a phone book. You know, that's area one, brand new, knock on doors. You know, the two spots on and off the phone that you can get started. As you advance, as you get better, as you have funds to build a marketing campaign and everything like that, you know, get yourself a noise canceling headset so that you can avoid those audio interruptions, you know, from people floating around the office or just house noise. You know, pay $100 a month or whatever for, you know, a dialer that you can use with an online platform to load up, you know, 200 names and book those out, you know, in a morning. So there's definitely a few options. Just kind of depends on where you're at and what your resources are. You know. So you're probably using like a CRM and calling top producers, stuff like that. Do you have a dialer like Mojo? Vulcan. Okay. Do you like that? We were looking at it, but
I don't. And it's probably just because I don't know how to use it very well.
Gotcha.
Right? I need to just say, Morgan, I need you to go over here right now and show me exactly what I'm doing.
Help me out.
Because the success I'm having is non-existent. We'll just say that. I'm having better success with other things that I'm doing.
Okay.
Different types of communications. Like I've had better success with door knocking, honestly.
Good.
So it's not that I don't like it. It's probably just that I don't know how to use it. And I also don't use it with a dialer. I just look through the FISBOs that are on there or the ones that have expired.
Yeah, and just kind of pull them up from there. Yeah. So, so what do you think? What do you think the next steps are for both you guys that are involved here in this class? What are you going to do tomorrow to help progress your lead gen activity and just this habit of building a lead generation? Well, what are you going to do tomorrow? We'll start with you down at Pocatello.
What am I going to do tomorrow?
Yeah. What are you going to do tomorrow morning?
Tomorrow morning? Wake up.
Wake up?
No, I am in the habit of just meeting people. I mean, I haven't been doing it, you know, I'm not going to say I've been doing it to create leads until now, but I say hi to everybody. So I'm just going to continue on and add this ability to try and get contact information.
Awesome. So how do you think, what do you think your biggest objection will be, or what's the biggest opportunity you've got for collecting that contact information? Say tomorrow you're going to the grocery store to pick up some bacon for breakfast. How are you going to make sure you get the contact information for that checker that might have plans to buy in 6 months?
Well, what I've learned from Jim is just, hey, I'm brand new in the, just got my real estate license. I'm looking for leads. Is there anybody that you know that wants to buy or sell? And how can I help you?
Perfect. So do you have any kind of an outreach or a sphere, any connections down there, anybody you can practice with as far as like scripts go and everything like that?
Yeah, just last night I was working with a bunch of people on a float, and I just said, "Hey, I got my license."
Perfect.
And, they're all good friends. At least I think they're good friends. Nobody stabbed me in the back yet.
Good.
They grabbed my cards and said, "You bet, Bill. We'll be working with you," because they know I've been quote unquote retired, and now I'm looking to create something new.
Great. So yeah, making sure that actually, collecting that information, practicing what you're going to say beforehand, scheduling some script practice time is really important. Yeah.
So let me ask you this. So why is practicing scripts and knowing what you're going to say beforehand important?
Mm-hmm.
Why does that matter? I mean, I know a lot of people feel like, well, I'll just talk to them and have a conversation. Mm-hmm. Every conversation is different. Everybody I talk to, it's going to be a different conversation.
Yeah.
I don't need to know a script, and that's not who I am.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm saying these things, that's not me.
Yeah, for sure. So, Joe, right?
Yeah.
So, if I need you to talk about yourself, you can do that, no problem. You're so familiar with your habits, your daily routines, your activities, your interests. You're so familiar with those that if I just asked you to give me your life story, you could spend 2, 5, 20 minutes telling me about yourself, because you're so familiar with it. So getting familiar with the content and these objections. One thing you don't want to do when calling a for sale by owner is have them say, "No, I'm not planning on listing with an agent because it's too expensive." And what you don't want to do is freeze. Well, sure. Okay, you were, and then hang up the phone. You can have those awkward conversations, and you can be a victim, and you can get sold by your lead, or you can sell your lead because you've got the tools and the practice and the knowledge and the familiarity with these subjects that you can close them instead of them closing you, because that's really what happens. Only one person's winning each conversation, and either you're closing your lead or they're closing you. So practicing these scripts, writing down objections while you're in lead generation, especially the common ones. Can't find anything. Homes are too expensive. I'd sell, but I don't know where to go. Writing these objections down and practicing them with a teammate or a friend or a family member is ultimately important, because you need to know how to handle those objections when you hear it the next time and win that conversation instead of that conversation owning you and kicking your butt in the dirt. So,
do you read scripts?
The cool thing about scripts is if you're familiar enough with them, all you do is internalize them and then adjust them into the conversation. And so
the key first is to
memorize
first. And then once you memorize, then they're internalized.
And then you can customize. Yeah. So to get started, write a script out, wing it, for your first couple calls, see what works, get it on paper, memorize that, use it word for word on a few of your calls. And then it's internalized. You know how it applies. You know the reason you're saying certain words, and then customize it per call. Definitely. Yeah. And any other questions about lead gen or how to get started?
I can go all day. So.
You could go all day. That's fine. Well, what else do you think these guys need to hear?
Just like you said, just have to do it.
Yeah.
Just have to do it. It doesn't matter. Agents say, well, I don't make any phone calls. I don't do phone calls. Mm-hmm. That's fine. If you're not doing phone calls, you have to be doing something. Sherry Peary, she is not making phone calls. She's not doing the normal type of lead gen, but what is she doing? She is on Facebook. She is sending people messages, congratulating, hey, I saw your kid graduated from high school. Congratulations. Mm-hmm. So excited for you. Yeah. Or, hey, your kids are going off to college, are you downsizing? She's actively doing lead generation her way, but the key is she's doing something.
Yep.
Jody Holland came here from Colorado, no connections up here, didn't know anyone, real estate agent.
And she's doing great.
Rookie of the year, her first year here, not knowing anyone. And what did she do? 25 business cards a day she passes out. That's what she does. She doesn't make any phone calls. But every day she passes out 25 business cards religiously and gets their contact information in the process. She's not just handing them out.
Yeah.
She's getting their contact
something in
information
return.
in the process.
Perfect. Yeah. Don't be a one-way ticket for information. Make sure there's some sort of next action tied to it. You're getting contact info. To summarize this whole thing, make your life about lead generation. Schedule it every morning. Make it an immovable, uninterruptible block. Gather names and their contact info. Follow up with them and turn it into business. Or you're wasting your time and you're going to be a victim to the ups and downs of real estate. So
follow up is key, guys.
Yeah, follow up is key. So just keep that in mind as you're growing your businesses and trying to get started. If you've got any questions, Keller Williams is an awesome resource, and they've always been great to us. So
and one last thing.
Yeah.
As Seth mentioned earlier, people, they don't hate you as much as you think they're going to hate you.
For sure.
Okay, that's literally psychologically in our heads. You're telling yourself that they're gonna hate me.
Yeah.
That is not
bugging
the case,
somebody.
Okay?
Yeah.
You're not bugging these people. They don't care. They hang up the phone, and 4 seconds later, you're in the past, and they're moving on with their life.
Yep, definitely. So just keep on trucking. Make those calls every day. Make sure you're actually doing something with the information you're getting, and move forward. Grow your business. That's all I got for you guys. So go get after it.
Thank you, Seth.
Yeah. Can I just close all this out then?
We need to end Zoom. I think you end Zoom meeting. There's a little button down there somewhere.